Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
see the MBB, passing it off like CP3. Shawty, she calling me MBB. I be on time, it's something you ain't never seen before. They call me the Dama, really want my whole team. I dropped the top on the S6 Street, fly in my eyes, see the MBB, passing it off like CP3. Shawty, she calling me MBB. I be on time, it's something you ain't never seen before. They call me the Dama, really want my whole team to score. Damn, yeah, too icy, yeah, too clean, yeah, my zone, yeah, 2-3, yeah, got shooters that hit from deep, bust like Giannis, yeah, too mean. Bright lights like we at the garden, on P, don't even started. Whole team walk through me to party. If I can't make the play, I'ma lob it. If you jump, that's right on your head. Had to put him to sleep, go to bed. I'm a star, drop 50 and left. From the logo, like I'm Steph. Put it up, knock him down every time. Going hard like my life on the line. Catch me on the course, I would've dime. Never losing, I put it on mine. Had to get out my shell, I've been laying low. They get real when it comes to the playoffs. They fight with me, know it's a chaos.
Ladies and gentlemen, from La Casa de los Lobos, the pit, here at the University of New Mexico, let's get ready to rumble!
Happy New Year. And I'm sure everybody's thrilled just to see me on here. Got a new sense of I don't what no, what's the word I'm looking for since I can't talk? A little bit back with it. I wasn't feeling it over the holidays, so I guess it is what it is. And in the words of Bill Murray in Ghostbusters 2,
Happy New Year.
make sure everybody can hear that.
Happy New Year.
Oh, let me put the batter on. I hope everybody had a happy holidays, a happy New Year. To those politically correct, Merry Christmas, or not politically correct, excuse me. Merry Christmas. Went by really, really fast, which is kind of the older you get, it sucks. My name is Ryan Tamori. This is the Pit Press Live, and I'm going to apologize again. I'm flying solo right now. So if you don't like me, I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Feel free to flip us off. Feel free to flip us off. Feel free to turn us off or flip me off. I don't know. I don't care. It might be a show that you don't want to turn off because in about 26 minutes, new UNM head football coach Jason Eck is joining us. I'm very excited to have him on. I haven't been rejuvenated since the Mike Loxley years. I know I've said on this show, if you watch hindsight's 2020, thought Bronco Mendenhall was a terrible hire. Everybody's gone from that. It is what it is. I really thought Danny should have gotten another year. And if you're saying to yourself, well, he joined your show, well, that was part of it because he was friendly to the media. So looking forward to that conversation. I'm hoping Eric can join me. Ed and Nick Nunez are at El Dorado, I believe. So Ed couldn't join me tonight. Wanted to do a show Monday, be quite honest with you. Wasn't feeling it. Be back next Monday with Monday afternoon quarterbacking, Ned James, Ben Wysong. So yeah, happy to see some of the comments trickling in. But I do want to thank people who have made this show possible. And those are our sponsors: Dulce River Bakery and Coffee, Affordable Service, Affordable Solar, Turquoise Desert Tap Room, Hydro Bar, and Affordable Service. That one's hard to mess up. That one's hard not to mess up. Affordable Service, heating, plumbing, and air conditioning for your HVAC needs in the Albuquerque and Rio Rancho area. Affordable Service has been in business in New Mexico since 1986, and it is still locally owned. During that time, they've served more than 40,000 customers, providing complete residential and light commercial HVAC services, including heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Affordable Service takes pride in its staff and commitment to the Albuquerque and Rio Rancho community. Once again, my name is Ryan Tamori, Pit Press Live. Hope everybody Happy New Year. What Larry David said, you can't wish anybody Happy New Year after January 7th, but our last show came to you after right before the new year. So I wanted to be that guy last week to say, hey, Happy New Year. And then I'd probably see you on Friday, but that didn't happen. Once again, new UNM head football coach Jason Eck at 4:30. I'm incredibly excited to talk to him. Probably won't be running into him at a bar with his coaching staff anytime soon. At least I hope not. Some house cleaning, and I will get to last night's game. I'm not the resident basketball player. Everybody else is. Rick and Eric are doing podcasts. Eric Moulton, Rick Thompson. And I got to cue it up even though he's not on here.
Richard.
I just happened to see this on on my mixer. If you've ever watched the show Tires by Shane Gillen? Shane Gillis, excuse me. At the very first episode. This is what I think sometimes when I'm hosting the show.
People fucking hate it.
But that's okay. I don't think anybody else in this town, other than the Albuquerque Journal, is probably giving you as much Lobo coverage over the last 2 years as we have tried to do. And it's not easy, and I'm not looking for sympathy, but when you have a full-time job. If you want to find our interview with Fernando Lobo, you can go back to our, I need to Google how to do lighting. This is terrible. Didn't go to school for that. I think it was right before Christmas. You can go back to our YouTube page, check that out. Before I get into last night's game, a few house cleaning things. I will start with this. Since I'm hosting alone, I need your help. Albuquerque. Question of the day: how impressed are you with the UNM men's basketball team's 5-0 start in Mountain West play? A lot of people. I'm the naysayer and hater. I picked this team to win the conference in October, but I guess for somebody who is communicating words, a lot of people still don't listen. I think they're pretty good, especially what I've seen. San Diego State blew that lead against Utah State. I'm not that impressed with Boise. I think what Jared Calhoun has done at Utah State, he comes from Youngstown State. We talked to him. You can go to our YouTube page and find that out. They play fast, man. And what Mason Falslev, he's pretty good. I'll be quite honest. I've been enthralled with bowl season. So college basketball has taken kind of a back seat. I did watch the Boise State, Penn State, the Fiesta Bowl with Fresno State on my computer. Boise State and Penn State had precedence, or as many people like to call her, one of my friends, State Penn. Still not letting that joke die. But yeah, question of the day: how impressed with you are you with UNM men's basketball team's 5-0 start to Mountain West play? Speaking of the Fiesta Bowl, for somebody who had made a bet when the matchup happened, right when I saw this, it was a bad omen, and I should have hedged it, but I didn't. Here's the Boise State lineman falling on his face. Running out on the field behind Heisman runner-up Ashton Jeanty.
And Ashton Jeanty helps lead the Broncos on the field.
Oh, bad for America, bad for Boise State. Right when that happened and I saw that, and I actually texted a friend of the show, Jacob Neff, amigo of the show. Can't use that. I was like, oh crap. And I got a bunch of texts about it that had said, did you see that guy fall running onto the field? And I said, yeah. And I had I had the worst feeling in my gut about that game. And I think you thought probably when Boise cut it to 17-14, in the third quarter, you thought, they're probably going to pull some Boise magic. I think Penn State's pretty good with their tandem of running backs. Drew Aller at quarterback. I think people think he's iffy. Tyler Warren, the tight end. He's probably a first-round draft pick next year. They played defense. Abdul Carter got hurt in that game. Didn't seem to slow them down. Nick Singleton and, oh goodness, what's the other running back's name? Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen, excuse me. Combined 200 yards of rushing. Katron Allen had 17 carries for 134 yards, and Nicholas Singleton had 12 carries for 87 yards. They both averaged over 7 yards a carry. Nick Singleton obviously had that touchdown run late in the fourth quarter there, and if you had it in a teaser, you were dead. So not good. Before I get into last night's game, and then I'll get in the comments, one more piece of house cleaning. I'm a connoisseur and probably a terrible person because I love when anybody gets hit on the sideline. And you can see the conspiracy theory videos I watch. This made my new year.
Aubrey.
And thank you, Scott Hansen, not Hansen.
Off Brandon Aubrey, kind of a weird, awkward kick, but watch what happens on the fly. Photographer leans for it, can't make the one-handed grab, and did you see the blonde hair fly?
Oh, that was good stuff. I enjoy, and I got a compilation after I, no, not on that website, compilation of cheerleaders getting run over after I watched that video. So that made my day, but I don't know if that's necessarily a metaphor for the Cowboy season, but definitely a metaphor for this New York Giants fan season. Thank you, Drew Lock, for winning that game, which, hindsight, if you listen to Boomer and Carton out of WFAN in New York, they're on CBS Sports in the morning. Boomer Esiason said that he wasn't not sold on Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. Speaking of Shador Sanders, boy, did they take a big fat dump. Her name is Michelle Semanowski, and she said, quote, "No need to worry that she's okay." So that made my new year. Has nothing to do with my Cowboy hatred, even though that's kind of diminished over the years. Again, my name is Ryan Tamori. This is the Pit Press Live. Jason Eck coming up in about 15 minutes. The new UNM head football coach, if he still decides to join the show, if UNM will still allow him to join the show. As far as the CFP goes, Ohio State 41-21 victory. I guess Ryan Day learned, and I know I'm stealing this from the interwebs. You have two NFL top wide receiver talent, NFL talent, and you did not throw the ball to them. They look like a juggernaut. Texas ASU was the game. Love Cam Scattaboo. If you didn't know about him until New Year's Day. And in that Penn State Boise State game, Ashton Denchi 30 carries for 104 yards. Somebody that hadn't mentioned was Maddox Madsen, quarterback that beat out Malachi Flynn, who's now at UTEP, was a 5-star recruit who was at USC, found himself at Boise State. Maddox Madsen beat him out. Now he's at UTEP. I guess it can be done. Although the Sun Bowl is pretty cool. He was 23 of 35. He had a touchdown pass, but those 3 picks I thought were not so hot. So that's enough of CFP talk, and I'll get into last night's game. Going to go to the comments. Oh, my man is back. Where is it? You have to forgive me in my patience here. Where did it go?
Miguel Sanchez.
My main man, 10 days in Mexico City, amazing, and was able to catch the Nevada game. J-Rod 17, if Danny would have got rid of Padilla, he'd still be here. I don't think he got rid of, okay. So yeah, for the guy on Twitter who criticized me that I read like a third grader, you're correct. If Danny would have got Pavia, he'd still be here. I don't know. I'm a betting man, but I've heard grumblings. Diego Pavia, great football player, terrible person. Gabriel Salas, driving back from Laramie right now, took my daughter to watch Lobos for her 18th birthday. Happy birthday to your daughter. I imagine that was a good game to be at. Happy birthday, Colorado Lobos. There you go. M. Duncan, SDSU will test the Lobos this weekend. Yes. Yes, they will. Timothy Fuller, is that a Roswell Coyote or a Rutgers hat behind you? No, that is Rutgers. My dad got his master's degree from there. And for all of you who have to listen to the story for the millionth time, I apologize. It is a Rutgers hat. Yeah, it's the black one. I got it at the bookstore in New Brunswick. My parents are from a small town outside of there. I lived in Jersey, and I went to the St. John's game, and I didn't have to pay for lodging. Perks of having family in New Jersey. I should have queued up the Sopranos theme song. Yep, there we go. Miguel Sanchez again.
Miguel Sanchez.
Lobos are dangerously thin at the post. Atiki is surprisingly ineffective on D as well as O. When is that coming on? 4:30, 14 minutes. I do want to touch on the basketball game last night. And I am the only one on this. Maybe Jacob. I don't know if Neff played basketball. He played football. I think lineman and tight end. I am the only resident member of this company and an owner that did not play high school basketball. What I'm very good at is gambling on college basketball and hitting about 50% of my bets. Glass half empty kind of guy. Excuse me. There's the Rutgers mug. Said gas half empty there. I'm the only one who did not play high school basketball in this show or podcast. Nick Nunez did. Eric Moulton is a state champion. Rick had to guard
Richard.
Alan Branch, I think, because he was the tallest guy on our bias team. He's told the story. He'll probably tell it again. Ed played. Eric, did I mention a state champion? Yeah. Neff knows as much about basketball. I'm not an X's and O's guy. I'm not an X's and O's guy when it comes to anything. I just like watching and became a reporter. But I would have to say last night when they were down and only scored 18 points and to have that atmosphere the way that place is, and it's not a knock on Wyoming, always wanted to go to Laradice, is you have to bring energy to play in Arena Auditorium. And for the guide, if there's anybody watching that was at the game, let us know. I like Cole Henry and Kobe Newton. We got to meet them in Vegas. They're Cole Henry transferred from Northern Iowa. They've played hard, and I don't know how you can hate a guy with the name of Sundance Wicks, but he has a lot of energy. I felt after coming off a big win against Nevada the way they did, and I wasn't at the game, but it was probably up there with one of the greatest PIB moments. The way that they played an overtime game, San Diego State coming in. Give me a second. I got to send a link to Rick. Once again, great job of live hosting. And then I'll get to my point. If you're watching, the link's been sent. All right. Let me wrap around back to my thoughts. You have an overtime game, 1000th game of the pit against Alfred. You have to go up to Laramie, then you come back home and you're on Big Boy CBS on Saturday. Thought there might have been a letdown. Obviously, Wyoming was out there leading scorer. Obi Ogbim, I hope I pronounced that right. Kobe Newton had a pretty good game. He's a 3-point. He had, I don't know, he's a smaller school and blew a lot of 3-point records out the window when we talked to him in Vegas. I don't know. It just felt like a letdown spot. And my buddy Mike, Oswald Cobb, that's pretty good. I'm not going to call him that. And I lost my train of thought because of that. Well, anyway, but to come out and score 18 points in the first half, my buddy Mike, who was a manager under Alfred, said Arena Auditorium in Laramie is hard to play. And you have to bring the energy. So I stole that. He tweeted that out. I don't know. It looked very glim there. And then the first 5-7 minutes of that game, of that second half, to do what UNM did and to claw back into there, not only defensively, but offensively. And even when they were kind of down 8, when Wyoming went on that 8-0 run, I don't know, 13 minutes left in the second half, I still felt that UNM was probably going to come back and win that game. I don't know how many more games that UNM can survive with True Washington and Amsil going a combined 1 of 14. Amsil was 0 of 7 and 0 of 3 from 14 points. But Philly B, Nelly Jr. Joseph, both double-doubles, 16 points, 11 boards for Borovichinen. Nelly Jr. Joseph, 12 points, 12 rebounds. I'm going to bring in Rick now to get his thoughts on last night's game. Rick, how you doing?
Richard.
Good afternoon, Ryan, listeners. Just had to come get some thoughts in here on that game as well. I couldn't agree more, Ryan. I don't know whatever switch the Lobos flipped at halftime, but their defense really picked up in the second half. Wyoming making 0 threes after shooting the lights out in the first half. Like you mentioned, Cole Henry of the Cowboys actually ended up being a really tough matchup for Nelly. He was frustrating Nelly most of the game, but you got to give Nelly his credit. He kind of slowed it down the last 10 minutes of the game and took his time in the post and was finally able to start converting some shots there for the Lobos. So he and the other leader were clearly Donovan Dent last night, picking up the slack for Amsil, who probably had, obviously one of his worst games. Exciting me, though, is, the two Serbian sensations, Jay Milley and Philly B, probably the most minutes or meaningful minutes that Milicevic has played, paid off in the end with a big 3-pointer by him. And Philly B, great rebounding game, knocked down some huge 3-pointers as well. But much like you, Ryan, I was never really too concerned, even at halftime when they were down double digits. And even at the end of the game, I just always felt the Lobos would eventually take control, even though it was a little nerve-wracking. But, for Wyoming looking ahead, they didn't have their star player, Obi Ogbum. I think they are still going to upset somebody. It might be on the road even, but definitely at home. I think they're going to take down one of the top teams at some point. But I definitely agree with you also about Coach Wicks and the culture he's instilling there. When they asked him about slowing down, he said, yeah, he wanted to go up there. And then when he means up there, he means up in the rankings of the slowest teams in the country. And we definitely saw that last night. So Lobo's very fortunate to get out with a win. Looking ahead to the early game this weekend, Ryan, are you going to be there?
Yeah, I'm probably going. I haven't made up my mind. I'm a sucker for anything San Diego. Plus, I was at the paper when this kind of rivalry, I think, really set its footing, or it's kind of started. I always think of the DJ Gay, Malcolm Thomas. DJ Gay, Malcolm Thomas, Kawhi Leonard. Rick, somebody's calling you a clown.
Go ahead. Put it up.
Nevada's 0-5 in the conference. Is that really a good win now?
I said an upset. It might be an upset, but yeah, I'm a clown. That's fine.
Yeah.
Proceed with the show.
Yep.
Exciting news. I will be at San Jose State, hopefully, Ryan, covering the show here in my clown suit for the 20 people that will be at the game. So I'm looking forward to being out there after San Diego State goes to Albuquerque.
You gotta love the court there in honor of Silicon Valley. I'm going to the game on Saturday, Rick. I'm excited. Once again, you can't beat 11 a.m. on Big Boy CBS. Did you very quickly I get your thoughts, because I know your mom went to Penn State. Any thoughts on the CFP?
Nothing much from me. I think the Final Four is as good as we probably could have hoped for at this point. I like Ohio State at this point to probably take it all. That's all I got on it for myself. I was locked in on the Mountain West, and after the Lobos kind of died, much unlike you, I kind of stopped following college football for the year. Once the Lobos died, I kind of died and moved over to basketball. But I will be obviously following it. But I'm more looking forward, I think, to the San Diego State game, to be honest.
What are you looking forward to in that game, real quick?
The overall size and athleticism of San Diego State. Farrell Compton did not play in their last game, but they still took over Boise and made it a pretty easy game where they controlled Tyson Degenhart. Alvaro Cardenas did not have good games against San Diego State, and they have the transfer Nick Boyd playing guard. He will be a good matchup with Donovan Dent. And their other freshman big man, Magoon Guath, is a great shot blocker. I think he's blocking over 2 shots a game. So Nelly will have a bunch of different looks thrown at him. Dent will have a bunch of different bodies thrown at him. And it's going to, much like last night, I think come down to who on the Lobos is going to step up and knock down some outside shots. True Washington has not really played his best basketball since having the hamstring injury or whatever it was. Philly B has been stepping up his shooting. Amzil has kind of been up and down. And, CJ Noland, I still think is struggling to shoot the basketball, even though he made that big shot down the stretch against Nevada. So just who on the Lobos is consistently going to step up other than the big two right now? And can they keep up with Miles Bird and the athleticism of the Aztecs? I know you got big coach coming on here, Ryan. I just wanted to come on and share some of my clown thoughts.
No, hey, I appreciate it. Rick, I'll talk to you later. We'll take a quick commercial break. My name is Ryan Tamori. This is the Pit Press Live. We'll be joined by Coach Jason Eck here in a moment. And then, Tim, I'll get to your comments.
said, let him cook!
All right, welcome back to the show. My name is Ryan Tamori. This is a Pit Press Live. Before we get to our next guest, I want to thank Dulce River Bakery and Coffee, Affordable Solar, Turquoise Desert Tap Room, Tim Baca Jr., Tim Baca Sr. over at Hydro Bar and Affordable Service Heating. All right, our next guest, before I bring him on, definitely want to give him a proper introduction. He's named as the 34th head football coach at the University of New Mexico on December 14th. He was previously at Idaho for 3 seasons, leading the Vandals to the FCS postseason for 3 straight seasons and back-to-back appearances in the quarterfinal. He was a 1999 graduate at the University of Wisconsin, played on the 98 Big Ten championship team, and went on to play in the Rose Bowl, and he began his coaching career as an assistant at Wisconsin with a name probably people are synonymous with, Barry Alvarez. I'm very excited to finally talk to you. It's Coach Jason Eck. Coach, how you doing?
Doing well. Great to be on with you guys today.
Thank you. I'm flying solo today. I apologize.
Hey, just you, Ryan.
Yeah. It's all right. I wish Ed was here. I will start here because I'm sure you've gotten the same slew of questions over the last month. But any dog in the fight in the college football playoff, and I'm wondering, are you a little partial to the Big Ten if you're watching and if you're pulling for Penn State?
Penn State, when I was at Wisconsin, Penn State was very new to the Big Ten. So, I'll just enjoy some good football. I think there's probably connections with all the school. My sister's a Notre Dame alum, so I know Jenny will be rooting for them. Just hoping for good games, good football to watch. I enjoyed watching the FCS championship game on Monday. That was a great game between Montana State and North Dakota State. But I just enjoy good football. Played well.
I appreciate that answer, and it's a good segue. You come from the FCS ranks, obviously. North Dakota State won their 10th FCS title, and I hope my math was right. I'm not good at it. In 13 years. How impressive is that at any level?
Unbelievable. And again, I think they've really built a winning culture there that it kind of has transcended across different coaches, and they do a great job. They get great, support from their local community, and impressive. And Coach Polasek, who I've competed against a lot when we were assistants, very happy for him in his first year there being a head coach. He's a Mountain West former coach, spent time at Wyoming, so he did a great job this year with that squad.
And I'm not trying to bring up bad memories for you or Lobo fans, but UNM lost to Montana State in dramatic fashion all the way back in August. You played them twice. I know it was not on the end you wanted it to be. I know kind of a simple question here, but how good of a job has Brent Vegan done there? And how good were they behind Tommy Millott? Obviously, you seeing and preparing for firsthand, and then for them to fall that short.
They were a tremendous football team. I thought they were going to win that game. I predicted that they would win that game, but North Dakota State was certainly the best team that night. Started out really fast, but they were an outstanding team. Now coming here, I feel like I lost to them 3 times this year, as I have to watch the film of them beating them, and that was an amazing comeback. But I think that also shows, how New Mexico was controlling that game early. In another game like the Washington State win, that we're not coming into a completely bare cover here. There's a lot of good players, and we need to supplement those with some other good players we're bringing in, and hopefully we can get this program turned around in very timely fashion.
And I will hit on UNM. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to dwell on FCS. But yesterday, on Tuesday, Northern Illinois joined the Mountain West Conference as a football-only participant starting 2026. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm excited about it. I have a lot of actually connections to Northern Illinois. My parents live in a suburb of Chicago. My 3 siblings do. So I think that could open up a little bit. We have direct flights to Chicago, both to Midway Airport and O'Hare Airport. So I think that may open up a new pipeline where we can do some recruiting up there. And our staff has some connections. Our offensive coordinator was a Chicago recruiter for many years. So I think that's a great add. I think that adds kind of a new region in our conference. Not a lot of mountains around DeKalb, Illinois, but a great addition for the Mountain West, and excited to compete against them starting in 26.
Obviously coming off Notre Dame's only loss of the year. You had great success at Idaho. What will it take to bring the UNM football program to the point where they are contenders every year? How do you visualize that?
Well, it's a couple of things. One, I think we got to do a great job of embracing, whether it's the state of New Mexico, the city of Albuquerque, all the alumni we have scattered across the country, all the boosters that support our program, and know that they're a part of this. We're working together. I think that's the beautiful thing about college sports. In the NFL, there's usually one owner of the team. In college football, you really have thousands of people who have a vested interest in the program, and I think those people need to feel that we're with them. They're a part of this. It's not that we're separate from them. And then it's the people. It's bringing in great people, starting with our assistant coaches that we're almost complete hiring, and then bringing in great players who are very excited to represent this great university and are going to do a great job. Not just on the field, but also in the classroom and in the community.
What about UNM, and what made you excited to take this head coaching position? I'm sure you've been asked that a lot, but have you dwelled on it the last month?
Yeah, there was a few things that really, I thought made this place attractive. And I think, when I look at, jobs, I think it's looking a lot like I look at recruits. And I try to look at, players when we're recruiting them, not where they sit right now at, 17 or 18 years old in high school, but where they can be in 3 years and where we can develop them and take them. And that's the same way I looked at the Idaho job and how I looked at this New Mexico job of how we can build it. And it's changing landscape in college football. And I do think when you look over the past 20, 30 years, a lot of those teams that have competed against New Mexico in the Mountain West will not be in the Mountain West anymore. And there's going to be a lot of teams where I think we're going to be, right near the top in our commitment, our resources. I do think our new athletic director, Fernando Lobo, was a great asset as well. I think his background in football to me spoke a lot to me. President Garrett has a lot of great support for athletics as well. And I think this town, when you go, I've had a chance to see 2 games in the Pit. I do not think this is not an apathetic fan base. I think this is a fan base who will rally around a product if you give them a consistent, solid, good winning product. And now as we sit here, we have not been to a bowl game since 2016. But we got to give this fan base something to get excited about, because I think they've shown they will get excited. They will be fired up and support us. We just have to give that to them. So I think it's a great opportunity. I know that we're going to find players in New Mexico. I do think some of the new rules where you're going to be able to split up scholarships are going to be that's going to be advantageous for recruiting young men from the state of New Mexico. I noticed that every time I drive into the office and past the back of the press box, the two guys were on the back of that stadium for the best players in school history. Brian Urlacher and Terrence Mathis were both New Mexico guys, who had great careers here and then going on to the NFL. And then some of the surrounding areas, I think being drivable distance to the Valley area around Phoenix, Arizona, we had a lot of, great players even at Idaho that, that state not having a group of 5 team for the guys who are not quite, Power 4 players, Arizona State level, they got to leave the state. And I think us being driving distance from there, that can be a great area where we get a lot of players. I had my first 2 players that I got to coach as a head coach who got to play in the NFL this year. And one of those young men was a young man from the Phoenix metro area. So I know about the great players in there who are willing to leave the state.
When you hear the word transfer portal, I don't know if it makes your head explode. Players have transferred out of UNM, but what kind of players are you looking for here to fit what you're trying to do?
Well, I think players who the first thing I'm looking for is players who love football, guys who love football, who have a good energy about them, players who want to be developed, who want to be pushed to get to their fullest potential as a player. People who are going to embrace their obligations, not just in the football field, but also in the classroom. And guys who are serious about getting their degree from the University of New Mexico.
In your brief time in Albuquerque, what have you discovered about the city?
There's a lot of really good food here, and I think it's a very welcoming culture. So I gotta be careful. There's so much good food here, but the nice thing is there's so much sunshine here that it makes you want to get outside and go for a walk and get some exercise in. But the people have been tremendous. Even just last night, I was over at the sawmill picking up some dinner for myself and my son, who's down here already, and a family came up, said hello, got a chance to visit with them a little bit about the community. And I think I see the passion of the people around here who, they want something they can be proud of. They're very proud to be Albuquerque residents, to be residents of the state of New Mexico. And I think they want something that they can rally around and have pride in.
You made it clear at your introductory press conference, you seem to be clear that you want to be actively involved in this community. How important to you is that in building the football program here?
Well, I think it just shows the connection. I don't think it's necessarily right if I ask all these people to come out and see us play on Saturday afternoons if they're never seeing me. They want to see me at things in the events and feel they're connected and have a conversation with them. And I think that's critical. And I think our players, it's important for them to be connected to the community, to make appearances at schools, whether it's reading books to kids or playing with kids on the playground. Because I think that's a powerful thing too. If little Timmy in third grade goes back to his parents and says, "Hey, Mom, we should go to the Lobos game this week." Those players came to our school. They were great guys, and I think that goes a long way, especially as we're trying to first build this program. At this point, where we haven't even had a practice yet, or certainly played a game.
I have to, before I let you go, again, we're joined by UNM football coach Jason Eck. I'm gathering you blocked for Ron Dane and knew Ron Dane. Any stories about him?
Ron's a great guy. He was a great player. I was mostly a career backup, so most of my blocks for Ron Dane were either in practice or I was blocking for one of his backups because he was out of the game in the fourth quarter when I got a lot of my playing time. But he's still very connected to that program at Wisconsin. One of the first calls that I got when I got hired to my first head coaching job at Idaho was from Ron. Congratulating me and wishing him well. And there's a strong. Anytime you play college football, that's, I think, one of the powerful things about it. And I look forward to engaging a lot of the former players from New Mexico. I've got a chance to meet quite a few of those guys so far and look forward to getting a lot of those guys back, whether it be for spring practice or, fall practice or a game next fall. There's a power in that. There's a special connection, I think, to a university that goes a little deeper when you have played a sport there. And that's probably any sport, not even just football. And so I think you have that brotherhood with those guys that transcends the years, and it's always fun to talk to old teammates and have them wish you well.
Not trying to keep you much longer, Coach, but I have to ask, the spectacle that is the Rose Bowl. Running onto that field January 1st, what are your memories?
Well, it's such a setting. It's such a setting, and the two times that I was able to go to the Rose Bowl, it was my senior year as a player. And then we went back-to-back years, and that was my first year as a graduate assistant. So I think that was even a more special memory because, there was different events you had. The players had certain events, the coaches had certain events. And, one of my memories when I was a coach, they had a assistant coaches dinner 2 nights before the game, and it was in the press box, the Rose Bowl, and we got to tour where they were putting the floats together. And that's a special thing because when you're right up next to those floats, because they're all made of flowers, just how beautiful it smells walking around there and seeing all those flowers. It's just a special thing. And I have a lot of great memories from my teammates of just getting a chance to explore LA. I was a kid who'd grown up mostly through the Midwest, and I think the first Rose Bowl was my first time I ever got to go to LA. one of the big cities in the country. And it was an amazing experience. And certainly when I saw our schedule, Ryan, and I saw that we got to go back and play in the Rose Bowl this year, I thought that's going to be a very special opportunity to play in one of the historic venues of all of college football. And we get to go to the Big House as well in Michigan this year, another historic venue. So I think that's certainly something that's very attractive as we're recruiting guys, opportunities to play in venues like that. I'm
not going to ask you about Michigan on January 8th. Lastly, you have a son named Maverick. Is there a Top Gun tie?
It's not a Top Gun tie. I was coaching at the time for the Minnesota State Mavericks, and we went to we had a great year. We were 14-0, went to the national championship game, which that year was held in Kansas City, and we lost the championship game. We had a great coaching staff. Coach Todd Hoffner was our head coach, who's still there at Minnesota State Mankato. I was the offensive coordinator. Our defensive coordinator is now FBS head coach Jake Dickert, who just went to Wake Forest, and had a heck of a staff. But we lost that game. We finished 14-1, and probably about a couple of weeks after the game, I was having dinner with my wife, a little date night, and she told me, well, we didn't win that game, but we have another little trophy that we're going to bring back from that trip to Kansas City for the national championship game. Is that we were going to have our fourth child, and I kind of figured Maverick was a better name to commemorate that because we were the Minnesota State Mavericks than to name him, Kansas City Marriott or something like that, where he was conceived at. So that's how that name worked out. But he's embraced when the new Top Gun came out. He certainly has embraced that Top Gun connection. He's got a pretty nice aviator little airman jacket that he likes to wear, a leather coat he likes to wear around in the wintertime, and won't need it as much in Albuquerque. But he's embraced the Top Gun there.
I apologize for that question. My dad had the VHS tape, the vinyl of the soundtrack, and then it on compact disc. So it was a formidable movie of my childhood, which I don't know, embarrassed but not embarrassed to say. Coach Jason Eck, the new UNM head football coach, I appreciate you taking 15 minutes out of your time to join us here on the Pit Press Live. And coming from this guy, I am very enthused about you being here. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it, Ryan. Thanks for your coverage and support. Lobo up.
Appreciate it. Have a good one. All right. That was Coach Jason Eck. I'll be right back to finish the show up. Really appreciate him and get some thoughts on what he had to say. I thought that was a really good conversation. We'll be right back.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
All right, welcome back to the Pit Press Live. We have a new, I don't know. I don't want to say enemy. Hey, I want to thank Coach Jason Eck. And I do want to thank Frank Mercogliano over at UNM. Frank, Thank you very much. Maybe it's a new year, new me, but I do appreciate that. So that's on the record, even though I was texting you right now. If you're watching, Rick said, name your next son Lobo. I thought it was a great conversation. I am curious to why he says Lobo up. I guess it's going to be an Aggie up thing. I kind of like that. I really like him. I think it's a great hire. Looking forward to it. He's got 2 big tests, though. Didn't ask him about Idaho State. They play them to open the season up at home in the fall this year. So find out. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm looking at text. It is hard to produce this show and host it sometimes, so forgive me. I need to put away, set all distractions. No, I'm looking forward to the schedule. They play Idaho State, second game of the year to open the season. I think it's funny. He comes from Idaho, and then he's got Michigan, Idaho State, and UCLA nestled in that. I've always wanted to go to the Rose Bowl. It might not be a Rose Bowl game, but I will be there. Tim Fuller, Ryan is rattled. Once again, you try hosting the show and producing it. Just throwing that out there. I don't know. I kind of like the sass. Really appreciate it, Coach Jason Eck, though. Looking forward to it. Any reactions to what he had to say? And I'm going to throw this back up then there. Question of the day: how impressed with you are with the UNM? I can't read. How impressed are you? And I wrote this. How impressed are you with the UNM men's basketball team's 5-0 start in the Mountain West play? I wrote that wrong. Let me fix that. You would have never known. That's what I got my degree in. There we go. Question of the day. How impressed are you with the UNM men's basketball team's 5-0 start in the Mountain West? Deal. Yeah, come on. Wanted to give my thoughts because we'll probably do a show Friday right before the, what is it, the Cotton Bowl? Storms rolling through there. Storms are coming. My bets for the Orange Bowl tomorrow night. I can't believe I'm saying this for somebody who used to really not care about Notre Dame being. I forgot to mention that to Jason Eck. He went to St. Pius in Georgia. Didn't mention that tie. I messed that up. I expleted that up. I like Notre Dame money line tomorrow night, and I take the under. The way Notre Dame's playing defense. So just throwing those out there. Best bets. Best. Gonna cut the show short tonight just because I'm hosting it by myself. Do appreciate all the listeners, everybody that tunes in. We do appreciate your support. Want to thank Jason Eck for coming on. Appreciate Rick coming on. Yeah, Tim is bringing the energy. Thanks, Miguel.
Miguel Sanchez.
Hey, first time of the new year.
Mr. Hutz, why are you burning all your personal papers?
As of this moment, Lionel Hutz no longer exists. Say hello to Miguel Sanchez.
I love that. It never gets old. Yeah, no Jimmy H or at Lobo Ronnie Chavez. Only Timothy Fuller House. All right, everybody, have a great Thursday. We'll come back to you Friday. I think what I was going to say is we're going to try to get some former Lobos on. I've been talking to Phil McDonald. Might have that happen on Friday. See if Ed can join me. If not, everybody enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy the Orange Bowl. Probably come on Friday and preview the in Mexico City. I went by Lionel Hutz. That's damn good. Preview the Cotton Bowl and maybe some NFL playoffs. See if I can get Jacob on. Appreciate everybody watching. Frank, thank you very much. Thanks to Coach Jason Eck. Thanks for letting me ramble at the first half hour of this. Thanks to Rick for joining us.
Richard.
Everybody have a good rest of your Wednesday evening.